Have you ever found yourself in a conversation that's just gone completely off the rails? Like one minute you're talking about agricultural policy, and next, you're talking about whether it's ethical to fall in love with a robot. But things like this don't just happen out of nowhere. If we pulled up some hypothetical transcript of the conversation, we might be able to locate the exact moment where things started to fall. Because when making an argument, your premises are going to rest on past premises. Here's an example. Say we're working with the premise that all apples are red. Then we follow that up by saying all red things are healthy. Our conclusion then is that all apples are healthy. This argument is logically valid, meaning if the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. Also, the conclusion isn't that controversial. You know, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I know some med student out there probably took a bit of an exception to that statement. But this entire argument collapses if we consider our first two premises. First of all, not all red things are healthy. That's the easy one. I'm sure swallowing red hot coals is not a very smart decision. And also, not all apples are red. There are green apples and yellow apples and those mushy apples that get all brown and nasty. And since these two premises aren't true, we can't say that this is a sound argument and the whole thing kinda collapses. Now what happens when you have a premise so bad that it leads to really ridiculous conclusions? Well, today we're going to be looking at such a premise given by Socrates in Plato's dialogue Phaedrus. Hey guys, it's Paul from Philosophy Tunes, and how y'all doing? I saw the Oscars last Sunday, and just like you, I was shocked and disgusted that the worst person in the world didn't win anything. But that's okay, because we're doing another Plato video today. This is a follow-up to last week's video, so go watch that. But in case you missed it or refused to give me more watch time, I'll give you a quick recap. Phaedrus, Socrates' friend, just relayed a speech about lovers and non-lovers. Socrates doesn't like it and gives his own speech on the topic, which we'll cover here. So Socrates begins his speech by establishing what love is to him. The unreasoning desire that overpowers a person's considered impulse to do right and is driven to take pleasure in beauty, its force reinforced by its kindred desires for beauty in human bodies. This desire, all-conquering in its forceful drive, takes its name from the word for force and is called eros. So it seems like love to Socrates is this forceful desire of beauty, specifically beauty in human bodies. And it's a kind of force described that's overpowering and unreasoning, to use Socrates' own words. It's almost like an impulse buy when you're at the supermarket and you see all that candy lined up. And you buy the pack of Skittles even though you know you should probably save your money. You know they have a lot of sugar, and worst of all, they changed the green Skittle from lime flavor to green apple. It's unreasonable, and yet it's a force that overpowers you. Now this seems like a pretty extreme definition of love, and those of you in loving relationships will probably disagree with it. But this right here is not the big red flag premise. That actually comes next right here. It surely is necessary that a man who is ruled by desire and is a slave to pleasure will turn his boy into whatever is most pleasing to himself. Now a sick man takes pleasure in anything that does not resist him, but sees anyone who is equal or superior to him as an enemy. That is why a lover will not willingly put up with a boyfriend who is as equal or superior, but is always working to make the boy he loves weaker and inferior to himself. I know that was a long quote, but we gotta try and give Socrates a chance to fully explain himself, and even when we do, this premise is still pretty weird. Just to clarify, the premise in question is this idea that a lover will want their partner to be weaker and inferior to themselves. Now, going off a more conventional definition of love, this is pretty wild. Again, consider those in healthy, loving relationships. Partners want each other to grow and succeed and be happy. Sure, there are toxic, abusive relationships where one person will belittle the other, but can we really say that's the norm? Maybe I'm talking out of my ass, but I think a conventional understanding of romantic love includes wanting what's best for your partner. It's really a heartwarming thing to see your partner happy and joyful and successful in life. But even if we consider Socrates' definition of love, you know, the uncontrollable desire for the human body, even then this premise is pretty ridiculous, as we'll see as we move on. So we have this premise here, and Socrates is going to offer a couple arguments that are pretty wild as a result of this faulty premise. The first of these arguments addresses character traits. Now, the ignorant man is inferior to the wise one, the coward to the brave, the ineffective speaker to the trained orator, the slow-witted to the quick. By necessity, a lover will be delighted to find all these mental defects and more. Now again, we're going to be considering these arguments under Socrates' definition of love, and even so, there are some problems here. If love really is just this overpowering desire, couldn't these character traits inhibit that desire? I mean, think about it. Even in terms of solely sexual desire, can't bravery, charisma, and intellect add to that sexual attraction? I mean, it's pretty common to find people super attracted to confidence, for example. And in a weird way, someone's personality can even reflect on their physical appearance. You ever notice that? Like you talk to someone and you're so swooned by their personality that it affects the way you see them physically. But there are people out there that are probably only concerned with physical features when it comes to that raw, overpowering sexual desire. But even then, ladies and gentlemen, the crazy premise that a lover will want their partner weaker than them leads to an even crazier argument when it comes to physical attraction. If a man is bound by necessity to chase pleasure at the expense of the good, what sort of shape will he want you to be in? You will see that what he wants is someone who is soft, not muscular, and not trained in full sunlight but in dappled shade. Someone who has never worked out like a man, never touched hard, sweaty exercise. That's right. If we accept Socrates' premise that a lover will want their partner weaker than them, then it could follow that a lover will want their partner not physically in shape. Look, I'm pretty neutral when it comes to the ideas on this show. My videos have conflicting ideas presented, and my hope is that you decide which ideas you like and would like to apply to your life. But this is the exception to that rule. It seems pretty hard to argue that a lover, even a sexually obsessed desiring lover according to Socrates, would want their partner not to be physically appealing. Now, we could go down this rabbit hole arguing if having a fit body is really physically attractive, and sure, people have different tastes. But if the lover wants their partner weaker than them, then at least we could say that the lover wants their partner to look physically worse than them, and that's pretty ridiculous. Sure, dating an attractive actress like Ana de Armas might be anxiety-inducing. Like, you know, why choose me? But come on. Next, Socrates talks about the lover wanting their partner to be deprived of their relatives. His first wish will be for a boy who has lost his dearest, kindliest, and godliest possessions, his mother and father and other close relatives. He would be happy to see the boy deprived of them, since he would expect them to either block him from the sweet pleasure of the boy's company, or to criticize him severely for taking it. So again, with our conventional definition of love, this is pretty ridiculous. You don't want your partner to lose their family, at least I would hope so. There are some weirdos out there in philosophy. But again, even with Socrates' hyper body desire definition of love, this also could fall flat. More specifically, if a death in the family is recent, I mean, that's not really going to inspire sexuality, because you're going to be in mourning. But there could also be a historical thing going on here, because I personally don't know how involved the family was in someone's life in ancient Athens. If you know, then let us know in the comments, but in today's world, at least in the US, it kind of varies. So with those weird arguments, you might be thinking to yourself, really? Did Plato, speaking through Socrates, really endorse these ideas? Well, after giving this speech, Socrates realizes he committed a great sin by talking bad about love, who is a god. According to Socrates, love is the son of Aphrodite, who I always thought was the goddess of love, at least when I was in elementary school. I don't know, man. Mythology isn't really my strong suit. Regardless, this causes Socrates to go on another speech in favor of love and lovers. But it gets complicated with talk about the soul and the theory of forms, and Plato deserves better than just having 2 speeches in one video. We gotta take our time with a bro here, so that'll be a different video. But yeah, that was Socrates' big mistake in my opinion, his premise that lovers want their partners to be weaker. Agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you watched the last video, who do you think had the better speech? Lysias or Socrates? If you enjoyed the video, then like, subscribe, hit the bell, and go watch The Worst Person in the World if it's playing near you. It's legitimately my favorite movie that came out in 2021. And with that, I wish you all a beautiful rest of your day.